Life Guide with Philosophical Dialectics. Siafeng. Translated by Transen and edited by Kayer. Philosophy is the abstract theory about the nature of the universe and its developmental law, as well as the relationship between thinking and being. Dialectics is the theory of the unity of opposites, the contradictory movements of things, and the universal connections and characteristics of them. In terms of properties, dialectics is part of and resides within the category of philosophy. It is like consciousness and thinking. Thinking is part of and resides within the category of consciousness. Speaking metaphorically, philosophy is the human body and dialectics are its eyes. Philosophy deals with the broad sense while dialectics deals with the narrow sense. Philosophy is general while dialectics is specific. It is my opinion that philosophy is science and should be understood and reasoned with real evidence, without which it would not be logical, and that would in turn lead to wrong conclusions. For instance, both the absolute idealism and absolute materialism sever the unity between the two sides of the contradiction. Such as religion, which emphasizes more about the idealism and ignores the value and meaning of real existence. And pragmatism, which stresses more about existence itself, but less about its causes. The theory system of Lifechanyuan is mainly based on real evidence, although I have previously expounded more about the teachings and instructions of gods, Buddha, celestial beings, and saints in human history as the core, which is somewhat empty for the faithless, and not only lack operability, but also lack the cognition of the scientific nature of the spatial-temporal universe, life, and life. It is like Lao Tzu's descriptions of Tao, an image of what existed before God. The Tao that can be discussed is not absolute Tao, evasive, elusive, yet latent within it, are forms. Dark and dim, yet latent within it is the life force, too specious to be understood by anyone who is not extremely wise. How do we guide our lives with philosophical dialectics? Buddha has no settled rules. Buddha's rules always vary according to the situation. Keep the main and change the others according to the situation. To be selfless is to achieve self, to be free from ego is to achieve ego, to own nothing is to own everything, and so on, which I summed up conforms to dialectics in the philosophical sense and can guide life. Now we will talk in detail about how to understand the world and how to guide our lives with philosophical dialectics. First, let us see the universal law of the unity of opposites in a philosophical sense. This law is to say that all things in the universe consist of pro and con factors which are opposite, incompatible, and contradictory as fire and water. But paradoxically, it is precisely this organic unity of contradictions that makes the world complex and colorful. Specifically, positive balance is negative, light balance is dark, true balance is false, good balance is evil, yin balance is yang, male balance is female, up balance is down, the rise balance is the fall, death balance is life, the tangible balance is the intangible, and so on. How can this analysis be significant to guide our lives? The law of the unity of opposites tells us that there is the physical world but also the spiritual, heaven but also hell, material structure but also the non-material, and the tangible human but also the intangible God. As such, our consciousness and thinking are not limited to our mortal lives and will not be limited to the material world that we see. Our field of knowledge can expand to unlimited space and time, to the afterlife, to the non-material world which we can neither see nor hear from our current place. What a remarkable leap of faith this is! Thus, as human beings, we should not only value the present, but also consider the future, not only pay attention to reality, but also consider nothingness, not only cherish life, but also pay attention to the afterlife. Let us now look at the law of mutual change of quality and quantity in a dialectic sense. This law says that any change of quality must be based on an accumulation of quantity. When the accumulation of a quantity becomes saturated and passes a critical point, its quality or qualities will change. This law has immeasurable value and significance in guiding our lives. From the law of the unity of opposites, we understand that while there are humans, there must be gods. Since there are gods, the existence of celestial beings and Buddha become reasonable. Humans, gods, Buddha, and celestial beings are life of different natures. People have human nature, gods have divine nature, celestial beings have theirs, and Buddha has Buddhist nature. If human nature is to be sublimed to divine nature, there must be an accumulation of quantity, and the accumulation must develop towards the divine nature. 1,000 miles cannot be covered without an accumulation of steps, and there will be no rivers or seas without the integration of small streams. If one gradually accumulates a divine nature, then in accordance with the law of mutual change of quality and quantity, they will eventually become godlike. Based on the dialectic law of the negation of negation, we can conclude that new things must conquer old things. New things refers to those which are in line with objective law and posse's strong vitality and broad developmental prospects. Old things are those that run counter to objective law and will die out.